Hey guys, happy Halloween. So I just wanted to talk about the image wrapping versus image projection today. Since I've gotten some questions like why are you working on it? So let's say you want to put some tattoos onto your character, which is a pretty normal thing to do, or you want to do like a custom logo on a shirt or something. So in a character creator, normally you would just have to paint the image directly onto the 2D mesh, like the 2D UVs, and you can't move it around because, as you'll see, there's issues with moving it around. So normally you have these tattoos to select from, like in Skyrim, but they don't move around, right? They're just static. So what I wanted to do was to make dynamic tattoos and logos and whatever else that you want to put onto your custom characters in a 3D game. So, all right, so you might think, if you are not familiar with 3D texturing, that you could just put a 2D image onto your texture image. So this is the hat with the Godot logo, and then move it around. But of course, first of all, it does get warped. But as you can see, there are seams on the 2D texture image. So as it goes past that seam, it just gets cut off, right? So you can't just move a 2D image around a 3D like texture. So typically what people do is they will use projection. So Godot has this built-in decal projection. Just for example, so you can see that you can project an image onto the texture, like so. So this works really good if you are doing a small texture. Then you can project that onto the flat surface, like so. And it doesn't look too bad. See, so it is kind of readable. But the problem is, of course, as this gets bigger, it gets more distorted as it tries to stretch around the mesh. Because a projection works like a projector in your classes. It'll project from a position onto a surface, and it can only project onto the front of that surface, and as you get towards the edges, it's going to warp. And the second problem with projection is, with the decal, is that it doesn't actually put it onto the texture image. It is a separate node, and this will react to animations. So if the 3D model is moving around, the projected texture will be moving or not moving with it, which will look weird. And the whole point of the overlays is so that you can have multiple textures stacked on top of each other, right? And then you bake it into a single texture so that it's not constantly calculating the different layers. So, and when I talk about the different layers, so we'll go on a tangent real quick. So if you there's the skin generator, right? So this is like the best character creator or whatever. So it's got, all the hair follicles and the ab lines and whatever else. So you can see here on the side, they're using layers, right? Like Photoshop. And you do actually have to pay. So this product itself is like $50, and then you have to pay for these additional textures. But all it is just layering textures on top of each other, right? So that's what I'm doing with my overlays, is I'm just layering textures on top of each other and then saving them. So here you can see is another example. It just has these multiple images that you can purchase and then save into a texture. So that's what my overlays do, except mine is open source and free, and you can find it on my GitHub. It's not hundreds of dollars if you want to make a custom character, which is ridiculous. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bake it into a single texture so it looks essentially like this. So I did go ahead and do the image projection. So we've got the origin and the normal. So you can rotate the perspective of that. Let's see, there you go. You can like rotate it up or whatever. And this one actually does save onto the UVs. So you can see it there on the UV image, how it's, I've actually projected it onto the texture, not just onto the mesh. So that is good. And then I added some options here to try to help with projection. So there's the hide back faces and the block faces. So you see, you get some like, anyway. So you can play with those settings. And then there's the rotate and the scale as well. But as you can see, this is warped. Whether you use, so I have not made this into an overlay yet, but that is the purpose here. I will add the projection overlay and the image wrapping overlay. So you see the obvious issues with projection, which is basically what everyone uses. So here is my solution. And this has been several thousand lines of code. But as you can see, it wraps around the 3D model instead of just projecting onto it. So you don't get that texture warping like you do when you try to project. So that is why I've been working on the image wrapping. I ended up using a heat map instead of the harmonic map. I used the heat mapping, which I think works really well. So you can rotate this, and as you see, our letters remain readable, distinguishable. And so this one actually uses a face ID. I haven't done the casting, but so this is cool. You can see that it actually wraps around the surface, right? So this would be blocked from up here if it was a projection, but because we're wrapping, it wraps underneath the brim. So I have not yet, and I do have some issues with this, but I mean, for the most part, it works pretty good. If you're going over the edge, it does have issues still. But I'm working on fixing that. Like I said, this is already thousands of lines of code. And I have not yet projected this onto the 2D texture. So this is a separate mesh that I'm building, but I will transfer it onto the base UVs. That's the whole point of this. So you can see, you can just like move that off if you want. And then this is a test scene, so that's why I have the lines here to help me with that. That won't be on the final overlay, right? So you can combine this with, you'll be able to combine this with other overlays like the gradient map so that you can change the colors of the overlay. So if you have like a team logo, right, with like a, I don't know, a star in it, right? So they can, if you got like teams in your 3D game, they can take that star image, they can change the colors of it with the gradient map, and then they can project it onto a piece of clothing or as a tattoo to like create team outfits or whatever, uniforms, right? So, I mean, this is a pretty standard feature, I feel like, that a custom character creator should make. So, yeah, we'll just snap that back. Anyway, so hopefully you understand now what I've been working on and why this would be incredibly useful for the indie game community. This is still the only free and open source character creator for Godot, which is the only free and open source 3D game engine. So anyway, I have been pretty busy. I had to get another job. So if you guys want me to work on this full time, be sure to check out my Patreon at Rainbow Games, and you can help me out so I can finish this free and open source character creator for the indie game community. So thanks so much for watching, and happy Halloween.